Hi, I'm Dr. Tieraona Low Dog. I'm an integrative medical physician as well as an herbalist. You know, so many of the people that I see that come in for various kinds of problems that they come into the office with, if we start peeling away what's going on, much of what's driving their dis-ease, their lack of well-being, comes back to the way they live their lives. You know, I think one of the greatest scientific endeavors that we undertook over the last 100 years was the mapping of the human genome. It actually, we found the blueprint of our human species. It was a really phenomenal undertaking. And that gave rise to epigenetics, the study of how our environment and the way we live our lives impact the expression of our genes. And contrary to what we used to think, that we're just the victim of our genetics, we realize today that there are so many things we do in the way we live our lives that affect whether those genes will be expressed in the first place. Definitely, nature and nurture are intricately intertwined. For me as an integrative physician, I'll just tell you, to me, this just confirms what my grandmother knew, what your great-grandmother knew, what people have always known, that a lot of our health comes back to the way we live our lives. That means eating foods that are wholesome and as close to nature as possible, getting adequate amounts of rest, which means having to unplug. That means, you know, turn off the cell phone, turn off the email, turn off the TV, and unplug, giving yourself time for mental rest as well as physical rest. It means maintaining social networks. It means having friends and investing in friendships and healthy relationships because they're so protective to you. There was a large study done by Brigham Young University, more than 144 studies. Think about that, more than 300,000 people. And they found that people who were lonely or socially isolated, it was as dangerous for their health as smoking 3/4 of a pack of cigarettes a day, or being an alcoholic, or never exercising, and it was twice as dangerous as being obese. So when I say nourishing those social connections and relationships, I mean that you need to do it. It's necessary for your health and survival. I think that also this movement, the human body was made to move. 60 million Americans over the age of 6 get no regular physical activity, defined as not 30 minutes or more of just movement. So, you know, no matter what you might be living with or struggling with, I have to just tell you, it comes back to the basics, which sounds so simple, and in some ways are, because they don't cost you really very much to do, but they cost time and energy and commitment. But if you want to have a life that is enriched and fulfilling, it does come back to living a life that is closer to nature, more wholesome in the way that you live it, meaning, you know, more simplicity in food, closer to nature, more movement, doesn't have to be running, it can be just walking, and green exercise seems to even be more powerful for you, so getting out in nature, walking, hiking, moving around, inviting people over for dinner or for a game of Scrabble on the weekend, you know, taking the kids to the park and letting them play, welcoming the things in our life that will actually impact the expression of our genes. We're not a victim of our genes. We know now that nature and nurture are just entwined in the tapestry that is our lives. As a physician, I will tell you all the pharmaceuticals in the world, all the acupuncture needles, all the herbs, all of those things will not help you if you do not do the basics that are necessary for you to enjoy a wonderful life. From my house to your house, here's to good health.